Hello friends. In this video I will be showing you how data flows in any Django application. Well, I will be taking user input and then I will show you that what are the different files that are involved during the data transmission process. So let's start with the terminal. Over here on the right hand side I have drawn a picture which will be illustrating the flow of control. Over here as you can see there is a terminal, and in the terminal I have to write down a command called python manage.py and run server. So once I do this, I hit the enter. Well, the application will start, the server will start, and let me do it. Well, before I do that, let me reload the page once, and as you can see the page is not running because server is actually inactive. Now I hit the enter, and once I do that, the server started, and you can see in the background the page also started. So that means once I provide this command in the terminal, and then I will type in the browser localhost colon 8000, what happens after that? How exactly this page came right over here is something what we are going to explore now. So imagine I wrote this in the URL localhost colon 8000, and the moment I will hit the enter, this particular endpoint will be compared with the file that Django provides is called urls.py. Well, Django is a backend framework of Python. We know that. So for that reason, Django would provide you different files. So let me show you. The name of the application I've given is third. As I click over here, I have a file called urls.py. Well, this is a file that control will come and consult. What it will consult? Well, it will consult the endpoint, the route endpoint, the endpoint which I have given in localhost colon 8000. This route will be matched with which of the path function. So over here we have got three path function. The one that get matched is the following one, because you don't see any string right over here. So this path and this path both are equal. Now what happens when the path is equal? Well, this will give a call to a module. As you can see over here, I have a package by the name called third. Inside the package I have a module called view, and inside the view I've written one function by the name called home. Let's go and check it out. So I will press ctrl and I will click over here, and it brings me to the home function. So once the control reaches to the home function, what it will do? Well, it will redirect, it will render in the browser a template, and the name of the template is home.html. I repeat, when the browser will receive a template from the URL, not only from the URL has redirected to the view, and it will just compare which of the method is becoming true, because over here we have mentioned the method name. So which of the method is getting true, that particular method will get executed, and subsequently what happens is that because of that reason you get to see the content in the page. So this template is home.html that gets redirected, and that's what the content you were seeing over here. Same goes right over here as well. Okay, so that is what the first part is. What happens when you start the server, and initially when you type the URL, what exactly happens, that what I have just now explained. Fine. Now comes step number 2. What if I will click some of the hyperlink right over here? Like for example, I have an option called register. What will happen if I click on the register? If I click on the register, the first thing that will happen is that the user, after clicking on the register, the route gets changed. So currently the route which you are seeing is localhost colon 8000 slash register will be appended. So slash register slash this route will get appended in the URL, and once it happens that again it will give a call to the urls.py, because remember, every time you are bringing a change, it should always give a call to urls.py. Whenever there is change in the route, the Python application will give a call to the urls.py to know which particular endpoint it should trigger. So once it comes over here, again there will be a comparison, and this time this path will not become true, rather register path will become a true. Okay, so let me show you that. As I click on this and I click on the register, immediately will change, see the route gets changed, and because of that it will now give a call to this particular function present inside the module called views. The name of the function is called register. This function will get called. Since you are invoking a page, well, this is an HTTP request, and whatever HTTP request is this, it is actually of type GET. So it's a GET request, and because of the GET request, it will forward a new template to the browser. As you can see right over here, it's a GET request, and because of that reason, it is forwarding register.html. So this new template will come and gets embedded in the browser. Let me show you that. As I come over here, as I click on this, look at the route gets changed. It is slash register slash, and because of that reason, a new template appears in the browser, and that's what you can see over here. Okay, so you saw how to open a page by clicking on a particular hyperlink that provides a connectivity between one file with that of the other one, because remember, Django is a framework. So you have to follow this entire data flow, that from the URL it will go to the urls.py, from the urls.py it will compare the endpoint, whichever endpoint does match, the respective function gets called, just like the way you are seeing right now. And this is the HTTP request, which is a get type. That's the reason a template now been forwarded. Okay, so far so good. Now what I will be doing is that I will provide, of course, some input. So I will give a category name. Suppose category name is called garment. This is a category name. And once I give the category name, well, over here I have got one more DOM element called remark. It's really good. So arbitrarily I chose this statement. And now what I will be doing, I will click on the save button. But remember one thing, you're working on the template, and template means document object model, DOM element. We know that this is one widget that will take input from the user. So definitely this widget need to have some identifier. Otherwise, how will you distinguish between one widget with the other one? So both of these widgets has got one ID, right? And the button also has got ID. So that's how the application will be able to discriminate between the widgets. So now when you are clicking on the save button, I am going to give a call to someone called jQuery. Yes, because jQuery contains a special function called AJAX. Let me show you that. And it brings us to the JavaScript. And over here we have got jQuery documented ready. Inside that we have got, I've written one AJAX call. But how will you discriminate AJAX, because there can be multiple AJAX call, right? For that reason we have got the DOM element. So this DOM element has got some ID which should be unique. So over here I have a button by the name called category underscore register.btn. This function is now going to be executed because you have gone for a click event, so the event also get matched. So that means once I click on the save button, this data will come right to AJAX, and AJAX will just check out which particular DOM element does it match. So first thing what AJAX will be doing is that it will receive the input that you have forwarded. Let me show you right over here. Look over here, it will receive the input that you are forwarding through this DOM element, and that input will be getting stored in the variable. Well, over here one statement is also there that will prevent the page getting reloaded, and that's the beauty of AJAX, because AJAX talks about asynchronous communication. When you have to send a bit of data, why will you reload the entire page? Only the data that you are sending should be received, or any acknowledgement coming from the server should be rendered in the front end. So why don't you just restrict only to the data that you are sending or receiving, rather reloading the whole page? And that's what AJAX does. So you are going to receive this to data that is coming from the front end, and thereafter the AJAX function will give a call to a new route, and the route is already in the URL, localhost 8000/register/, and this time you are submitting data through the form, and that's the reason it is called post request. So this route will again go and take you to the urls.py file. So look over here, again it is going to the urls.py file. It will compare which endpoint does it match. Well, of course over here we have the endpoint, and then it will bring you to this particular function, but this time the get request is not going to work because we are forwarding the post request. So it does match this time. Once it does match, now what it will be doing is that the data which you are sending, like this, for example, I'm sending the category name and the category mark. Well, over here I could have done the validation part, but to make the thing simpler, I'm directly sending the data, assuming that the user will provide the input, right? So this data isn't provided through the category name and category remark. That data will come right to this particular view, and here I'm going to receive the data. So here is my category name, here is a category mark. Make sure these names should match with whatever key value you are mentioning right over here. So I will receive the data, and then what I'm doing is that I'm doing a very small validation to check whether the category name is given or not. In case if it is not given, then it will redirect a message called blank field detected. But what if the category name has data like what you are seeing right over here? In that case, it will return a JSON response. So previously you saw it was returning a template, but since I'm already having a template, for that reason I'm not returning any template, rather I'm returning a JSON object which has got a key value pair. So this JSON object will be forwarded back to the template. See over here, the arrow shows that this JSON object will be forwarded back to the template. So the question is where this data will be received, or who will be receiving it? Well, should it directly go to the template? The answer is of course no. It should not go to the template directly because AJAX is still involved. So the response that is coming in the form of JSON, that should get stored inside the success function, and specifically inside the parameter called response. So whatever response I'm sending a response in the form of a category name, a key, and an acknowledgement. This entire thing should get stored inside this. And once it does that, then what we will do is that we will print the data in the template. Look over here, I have got one div tag which is already there in my template. So let me show you that. Even here is my div tag, which has been empty initially because it is expecting data coming from the server via AJAX. So that would be figured right over here. So inside the AJAX call, the data, the response that came from the server, once again I'm saying the response that came in the form of JSONResponse, that would get stored inside the parameter inside the response, and from the response I will extract the key. So key over here was category name. I need to extract that, and that's what I did, and I will print a message, the message that came from the back end. So this message. So let me show you over here, and as I click on the button, you can see the category name garment category created. That means this particular category name and this particular statement category register was been forwarded to AJAX, and AJAX received in the success function in the argument, and then what it do is that it extracted the category name and category response, and then it has just rendered the data in the empty div tag that is there in the HTML template, as you can see right over here. And because of that reason, you see a message called user register. So I believe this whole flow of data, right from the starting of the server to that of the first template, and then user giving the input, and that input going to the server, and server responding on basis of that input, send the data back to the AJAX, and then finally you are seeing the data in the template. So this is how a Django, a very basic operation of user giving input, actually happens. And again, I'm saying I kept in focus the jQuery AJAX function because I wanted to perform asynchronous communication. As we know that a Django follows the design pattern that is called MVT, model view template. So I have talked about the view function over here. As you can see, I have talked about the view. I talked about the template. What is missing is the model. Yes, that will be the topic of my upcoming video. Okay, thank you very much. Stay tuned. Take care. Bye bye.